Hi, I'm Lata Hamilton, the founder and head coach of Passion Pioneers. I'm an accredited change manager, NLP practitioner, and career change coach. And you're joining me now for the Reimagine Restructures Video Series. So today's topic is how to have difficult conversations with redeployees. So during a restructure, there is going to be a number of people who aren't going to secure a role in the new structure. And so these people are going to be placed on redeployment and then potentially made redundant. Now, the emotions that these people are going through can be quite intense, and there can be a lot of fear and a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety come up for these people. Now, this fear, stress, and anxiety might have actually started way back when the restructure was first announced, but then along the lines of when they're actually being told that they're on redeployment or potentially made redundant, some people will be okay with it, they'll be at peace with it because they knew that it was their time to move on, and other people are going to really struggle. So it can be really tough for leaders to have these conversations. They care deeply about their team members and about their people, and this organizational change is critical for your company to survive into the future, and it can be really tough then to have the responsibility land on a leader's shoulders, especially if that leader doesn't like conflict, and maybe doesn't know how to have that conversation, especially with somebody who they might have been working with for a long time. They might be, have a really good working relationship with, and this could be a really tough conversation for them. So I'm going to be giving you just a few ideas today around how you can arm your leaders to actually have that conversation and maybe help them to feel confident to actually start to have that conversation with any of their team members who might be moving on to redeployment or being made redundant. So the first tip that I would have for you is to make sure that you get agreement on a common purpose. And what I mean by this is it's really important at the start of the process, when the restructure is first being announced, to make sure that everybody understands why the restructure is happening, and to not just say they understand why the restructure is happening, but to truly buy in. So whatever mechanisms you need to do, or whatever activities or programs you need to put people through to make sure that they do truly understand the purpose and the criticality of actually going through this organizational change, the better. Because that means if you do that way back when, that when the time comes where there are going to be people identified to be on redeployment or redundancy, there's already that base level of understanding. So that would be the first tip that I have for you. Get agreement up front on the purpose of the restructure and have people articulate back to you why it is so critical, and why it is so essential. So tip number 2 that I have for you is to give people information as early as possible. It can be an incredibly confusing time and an incredibly stressful time for people, and stress is compounded if they don't actually know what's going on. So you can be giving people as much information as possible all throughout the course of the organizational change. Now, the emphasis here is to always be focusing on the work. It is not about people. It's not about people doing badly or people doing the wrong thing or people not being good enough. It's about the work and how the work needs to change and how the operations of the business and the tasks that need to happen need to change. And so it's really critical to make sure that you don't make it about the person, and that you also don't make it about the person's emotions, because while they might have those emotions and those emotions might be valid, for me, it's not really the leader's place to necessarily have to address those things. People who are going through organizational change do have to take a level of responsibility for themselves, and there are support mechanisms that you will be offering as part of your restructure that they can actually go and have those conversations about what might be going on at a more personal level, with people who are a little bit more qualified and a little bit more able to actually provide that one-on-one and more personalized sort of support and advice. So it is about giving information to people up front as early as possible and as much information as you can, focusing on the work and then giving people the space and the time and the support resources to actually be able to process that. And then third is to be honest and be upfront. it is a really, really critical time for people and for your company. So be honest, be upfront, and always have a level of compassion. Now, this compassion doesn't have to necessarily be addressing an individual team member's like personal concerns, personal views, personal issues, but it is around I guess bringing a level of compassion to the entire process, doing whatever you can as a company, whatever you can as a leader, as the leader of a company, to actually support your people through it. It's really, really important that people feel like you actually care, and that things aren't being done from an inauthentic place. So there's different options out there for you, and bringing that element of compassion and that element of care into the process from start to finish, end to end, is going to be really, really critical to making sure that everybody, your leaders and your team members, actually have the courage to have some of these difficult conversations. So restructures can be a really challenging time. And what I'd say is you're not in it alone. Your leaders are not in it alone. There are so many opportunities of services and people like Passion Pioneers who can help you through it. If you want to find out more about what we do, go over to our website, passionpioneers.com.au, and look forward to seeing you on future videos.